Freaka TV, Freak Up Studio, live. 2023 GSL Season 3.
It's been dark way too long in this place. That bright smile long gone been replaced.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another day here of the GSL. Actually, the second to last day. We are plowing through this tournament. After tonight, we are going to have our final four players. We'll be back in a week and close out the show. It's been an amazing GSL so far, and today we're going to find out if Protosses can survive.
Yeah, we have a pretty good chance of a Protoss making it to the round of 4 with both Creator and Classic facing off today, even in a PvP to start things out. But already the top 4 is shaping up in a way that I don't think anyone anticipated to start this season. I mean, the only thing that could get crazier is if somehow Dark gets knocked out first in this group today. I mean, Maru is out, Cure is out. There's been so much upheaval at the round of 16 and the round of 8, and it's been a lot of fun.
It's been a blast. Yeah, Maru getting killed off in the very first day of the GSL is giving us a tournament that is going to, no matter what, be very different. Maru's won more GSLs than anybody. It's not even close, continuing to dominate. But with him out of the picture, I would say, yeah, maybe Dark still potentially the big favorite to take this. But if he loses here today, it's going to be wild. Another thing to note, Creator, who's playing today, never has won a GSL, but he did manage to get to the finals. He was always the player who was getting nervous, making mistakes. He seems to have a really big, wide range of play. He's an excellent player, but he would almost get in his own head. And this looks like it could be a GSL that's going to be more doable for him as well.
Yeah, I've been meeting with Creator, on stage before GSL round of 16. I met with him before the round of 8 today, and he seems very calm, very collected. He feels confident in his play. He said today he thinks it's going to be a hard group, but he has a chance to advance, and I'm right there with him. The way that he played PvZ in the round of 16 was frankly masterful, so even if he goes up against Dark, I think he can take it. And by the way, guys, if you want to support the GSL, you can contribute both on Freaka TV through Star Balloons or through Patreon.com. I think $10 is the tier on Patreon.com that unlocks the replay packs, which in my opinion is the #1 thing you want to get out of that Patreon if you want to go for it. I mean, of course, supporting the GSL is in and of itself a noble thing to do, but if you're a selfish nerd like I am, you also want to get some replays.
Yeah, there are perks if you support us on the Patreon. Obviously, we're not in the same kind of position, publisher support, that we had before. So it's appreciated, guys. As a reminder, the finals date is November 2nd, so it's a week from now. It's going to be in this studio. We have 3 major studios in Seoul. It's going to be here again. The ticket sales go up. Is that tomorrow?
Yeah, Friday 5 p.m. KST.
So basically 23 hours from now, you would be able to get tickets. I highly recommend you try to get them right when they go live. We don't always sell out for shows here for GSL, but the finals, I think literally always has.
Yeah.
So you don't want to be one of the people where you set the time aside, maybe even buy a plane ticket in a hotel and come out here, and then you can't get in. So be sure to get a ticket at that time. And I think you can buy them up to 2. So for you and 1 guest, and then if you're going to have more people do it, you got to get them to buy it. So
yeah, that makes sense. And normally for GSL, you can come in the day of before, like as the studio is opening and get the tickets at the door. But for the finals, you don't want to do that. Just play it safe, get the tickets early if you can. And by the end of today, we're going to find out who you will see at the finals. And
it's not just finals, semifinals, I should say, too. So it's going to be the round of 4 and then the finals right after that. So it's going to be a lot of great StarCraft. You don't want to miss it.
As a result, we're starting at 5 p.m. KST on that finals day as opposed to 6:30 p.m. KST, which is the usual start time. And it's going to be a really big day. We're going to have Gumiho face off against somebody. We're going to get to find out who is going to emerge as the second place finisher from this group, and as well as Solar, who just played magnificently there on Tuesday. And for today's group, I really feel like any of these players can make it out. Dark is the favorite, but also in this GSL, I think that means that he's probably the least likely to advance. As soon as Maru was knocked out in round of 16, I was thinking to myself, well, this is now Cure's chance to take home a GSL, and then he got knocked out in the round of 8.
And then you jinxed him.
Yeah, it's the Tortosis is gone, but the caster curse remains alive.
This is called the state curse. It doesn't quite roll off the tongue as well. But look, we're going to start this off with a PvP. Creator, I hope that we have at least 1 GSL where he wins it. I think that would be the coolest story ever. He's been here since the very beginning. This tournament's been going on for 12 years now. He has gotten to the finals once. He got to the semifinals, I think, once also before that, maybe twice. But this could be the tournament that he wins. He's going up against Classic. I think this is a pretty even match. Classic is obviously back from his compulsory military service and has been looking to be in pretty good shape. He was a little bit shaky right when he returned. That's more common than less common with pros when they've been inactive and they're doing their service. But I think he's got a shot, and I do think Classic's PvP in general is quite strong.
Yeah, his PvP is ferocious. I feel like he's very much an all-rounder Protoss, whereas Creator, I still kind of see him as a specialist in PvZ, but he's going to have to get through Classic as the big boss first if he wants to advance to that winner's match. Regardless of who wins here, we will have a Protoss at least one series away from the round of 4, which is very exciting. As the players are getting ready, Creator warming his hands for this match.
Yeah, let's see how he does. I'm always watching to see, especially if Creator loses, how's he looking? Is he getting tilted? Is he getting upset? Or is he going to keep his cool? He's one of the more explosive players we've got. Anyways, guys, Group B, round of 8, starting now here with a mirror matchup, Classic versus Creator.
Club NV Creator. Twisted Minds Classic.
Okay, gateways, the entrances here for both sides. Nobody expanding onto the low ground or building any infrastructure on the low ground here. But yeah, I mean, look, PvP, I feel like there are so many different ways to open up the matchup that work, and that makes for so many different interactions you could possibly have. It should be a fun series.
Yeah, PvP is generally one of the most creative and also almost dice rolling matchups that we have in StarCraft 2. Rarely do you want to talk about dice rolls when it comes to playing a game like this one, but PvP, as you said, there are so many different openings, so many explosive all-ins, and very different styles that either player can opt for. It's hard to go for an expansion really globally. Oh, welcome down to the studio, fellas.
Good to have you guys down here.
And a lot of foreign audience here from
Copenhagen.
Wow, that is.
Could have just put the flags. I could have just put my flag game's pretty on point too. With it.
Did her sign say that she's dating a Gold League player?
I didn't see that.
That's so good.
So funny.
If you're a Gold League player at home, you can find love too.
Yeah. Or you can come to our studio and be outed.
But yeah, globally, really, I think only MaxPax that comes to mind as a player that's confident enough to expand the low ground in PvP with a 1-gate FE. He's really the only Protoss I see that does that reliably and consistently, is kind of still able to fend off everything. So both Creator and Classic going to be opening with 2 gateways on the high ground for Creator. It's a 2-stalker opening for Classic, opting for 2 Oracles. And we'll see if they decide to opt for a fast tech, if they go for rapid expansions. I think with Classic, more likely to go for a Stargate with double Adept. And yeah, in fact, he is.
Yeah, it's usually pretty hard to figure out what the tech is until you know that the worker can be driven out. Now we've got Stargates on both sides. We do have a pylon block on both sides as well, so you can't get the Nexus up until that pylon's gone.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that a lot of players are curious about that don't play Protoss themselves when they see a pylon block like this one is, well, you know, aren't you just delaying the expansion at a time in the game where the expansion probably isn't going to go down anyway as you're building more gateway units or more tech? But what these pylons really allow you to do is also scout what units are being made out of those gateways, and that gives you more information in terms of what you're potentially dealing with. In Creator's case, he knows that his opponent opened with Adepts, and he has to be mindful of them potentially moving across the map, and he also knows that it's going to be a minute before they actually can move cross-map to join up for some kind of potential harassment on his side of Hecate. So both players now going for an Oracle. Classic's a bit faster than Creator's here. And Creator's expansion a little bit faster as well. We'll see if these 4 Adepts are able to get too much done. But I'm anticipating with the Oracle opening coming out from Creator, he shouldn't have much difficulty parrying this.
Yeah, he just pokes in. He gets the confirm there with the Scout. The Oracle's going to come across the map. Now, if they both realize they're going Oracle, is there a chance this will prompt them both to then go Phoenixes?
Oh, actually,
they miss each other.
And neither player aware. Is there a shield battery? Oh, there isn't a shield battery in the mineral line of Creator. This is pretty big. Those probes are going to start going down. Only one Stalker getting warped in. Classic should be able to pick up 3 or 4 at least here. And yeah, that's some nice damage. Back at home for Classic. He's already prepared for this Oracle. 2 Stalkers enough to fend it off.
Yeah, kind of a scary moment there. We did see a Phoenix start, by the way. Pylon wall is not going to allow these Adepts to get in here with any ease. And yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense too. Just see what kind of damage you can get. Clean this up. Now he's going to come in with a dive once more. Now Phoenixes are being made here for Classic. I don't believe there's any being made here for Creator. He might be focused on more of a ground game. So we're not going to necessarily have that Phoenix arms race I was talking about earlier.
No, it seems both players are going to go for ground. There isn't a shield battery being built at Creator's ramp, so he's just going to rely on the Oracles to try and deal with these Adepts, but already losing more probes to the harassment. Classic right now with a 5-worker lead.
Yeah, getting these Adepts is pretty big too. I mean, they're not great units longer in the game, but you know, it's something, right? And getting those free kills like that are pretty nice.
Classic flying around, does spot.
What do you think about the one Phoenix? I guess it's just there to try to drive away the Oracles, but is that excessive or?
I think it's good. I think one Phoenix is just rock solid because those Oracles can be so troublesome to deal with. Because in theory, if both players played perfectly, if no Phoenix is made, the Oracle simply should not die.
Right.
And so later on in the game, when you're taking a 3rd expansion as Classic, then having to keep in the back of your mind these Oracles potentially flying in like this and just sniping 1 or 2 probes or even throwing down a stasis ward can be so troublesome. But having a Phoenix means that you don't actually need to deal with this in the long term. So I think it's a very smart play coming out from Classic, especially since Creator committed the resources to 2 Oracles instead of just 1. For 1 Oracle, it might be overkill, but for 2, I like the move. I think it's really smart, especially considering how far ahead he is with the early harassment.
Looks like the Blinks are synced up. Are the Nexuses going to be synced up as well? We've got the 3rd Nexus starting here for Creator. But I see a hidden pylon on the map here just at about 3 o'clock. So there's a chance we're going to see more gateways come down. And look, I mean, Classic might, if he makes those more gateways, have a real shot of pushing in and doing some actual damage here.
Yeah, he's actually going to throw down a 4th gateway. So this is absolutely going to be a high-pressure build. Think back to, I believe, Nightmare versus Hero from earlier on in this GSL, another PvP that we saw. Nightmare was able to get a lot of damage done with just 2 gateways warping in non-stop while he took a 3rd base. Classic is going all the way up to 4 gateways. So it's going to be a very heavily committed push on Creator, and considering this worker damage that he sustained in the early game, I'm concerned for his ability to hold on here after committing to a Forge, to a 3rd Nexus, even with additional gateways coming in. It's a dangerous moment in the game here.
Yeah, I mean, this could be a moment. We'll see how far he blinks in. Okay, that was really good.
That stasis ward is massive. These Stalkers that blinked in now can get picked off 1 at a time. Wow, what a great moment here for Creator. That really just kind of turns us on the head. Even blinking down into low ground now, the stasis ward for Classic is going to be able to catch a handful of Creator Stalkers on his own.
This really makes you appreciate how long that stasis ward is.
Oh, he's trying to double it down, and actually going to get 3 more, no, 4 more Stalkers in fact.
This is basically perfect here by Creator. Like, he's shutting this down so nicely. And again, there's a 3rd base that's now up. It's getting probes sent to it right now. So the fact that the player on 2 bases fails in the attack versus the guy that's got 3, I mean, Creator is eons ahead at this point in time.
Yeah, what an incredible moment for Creator. That stasis ward was beautifully placed in the main base. Those Stalkers eventually do get warped back home, but as you said, the 3rd base is so much later now for Classic that all the advantage he worked up in the early game is completely out the window. Now it is Creator's ball game. Not just does he have a worker lead on 3 bases and that faster 3rd Nexus, but he was able to kill a lot of Classic Stalkers. And let's not forget that he also has a Forge, researching +1 weapons as well. I think Classic, yeah, just now on the production tab, throwing down that Forge. So really every single advantage in the game is in Creator's favor, and he's going to start pressuring because of it.
Yeah, he's going to come down now. Now, Creator's got to be careful not to overextend. A nice blink away. And, I mean, I guess the game will go on. There's not an insurmountable lead here. That was basically Creator testing the waters to see what he could do. And that's a funny moment. He, like, blinks both over there so that one gets stunned no matter what. Now, the fact that Creator came all the way across the map here and is running away with his Stalkers, this is like a lot of Stalkers that have been killed off. There's more workers in the pocket for Creator, but the army sizes are almost the same. It's almost identical.
Yeah, it was a little bit of an overextension there. Classic, even on the chase, I think was a bit faster with a blink, so he was able to pick off 4, maybe even 5 Stalkers on the retreat. And so what I'm curious to see now from both players is really how much gas they're going to go up for, because generally speaking, if you watch a lot of Europeans play PvP, they tend to prefer mostly a mass blink Stalker style, but in Korea, 3 gas is generally the way that macro PvP is played in the mid game, and it comes with a swarm of zealots. Once you get up to 4 bases and the mid-roll income really starts to pile on.
And that seems to be right where we're at here for Creator.
Yeah, for both players, in fact. Even Classic going up into Templar for Archons is still just sitting on 3 gases, so he's going to be hard committing to nothing but Zealot Archon from here on out. And it's a very powerful composition to work with, and considering the damage that Creator sustained moving across the map, you know, from a few minutes ago, it really felt like it was his game to lose, but Classic actually does seem to have a fighting chance now. If he finds a timing window with Charge, he could potentially get a lot done.
Yeah, we got that Templar Archives, by the way, finishing up here. So we're going to have some Archons mixed in here with the rest of this. It looks like we're going to go to a late game PvP. We don't get this very often in GSL. A lot of PvPs are ended pretty quickly, and I think in some metrics it's probably the shortest matchup. But from here, I think we're going to go into a pretty insane game, to be honest. We're seeing both players now get up to 4 bases. And it doesn't seem like either side has any incentive to try to come out and attack. But a Warp Prism just finished for Creator, so maybe that will be a telegraphed attack here.
Yeah, Classic is trying his best to chrono boost out +2 ground weapons to catch up with Creator, but I think regardless of how good Classic is with those chrono boosts, Creator should have a timing should he want to strike with +2 attack. And so we'll see if he decides to go that way. Actually, these 2 Oracles coming in. Remember that Phoenix earlier? I don't know what actually happened to it. This would be a great time for it to be used, because now Classic is having to pull Stalkers into the main base to deal with those Oracles. They got 6 worker kills, and this attack is about to mount at the 3rd.
Okay, a beautiful engagement over here, and you can see that Classic's army, it's a little bit late to the party. Can't quite get in. The angle may be a little bit better here for Classic as he moves in. Creator, I think, might have wanted to commit to this attack a little bit more with those Zealots, but he's going to go back over here to where the Warping Zone is. The Zealots do manage to chew through that defense. Can he actually get the Warp Prism? He does not.
No, it does not get the Warp Prism, but I think Creator might have enough of a snowball effect here that he's able to get some damage done. We'll see with the Warpins coming through. Creator actually floating a bit of minerals right now as he prioritizes the Blink Micro. So far, the trades going quite well for Creator. He has to be mindful of that stasis trap, though. If he broaches a little bit too far, okay, he blinks his Stalker forward. He's aware of it, links forward, gets an Oracle as well. And with these Zealots flooding in, I think he might be able to get game-ending damage in.
Yeah, I think we are actually at the end here. Creator was extremely patient with blinking back, buying time, getting those next Warpins, and this should be the breaking point here, because as this Nexus falls, yep, that's it. GG. Creator takes game number 1.
Really kind of an insane game. Classic getting a lot of damage done early, but that one Stasis Ward in the main base for Creator going unscouted by Classic got so much done. He picked off 7, maybe 8 Stalkers, completely hamstringed the attack from his rival Protoss player, and then from there he had faster upgrades. He had a faster 3rd base, a better economy. Even after overextending and losing a good number of Stalkers retreating cross-map, he had enough of an economic powerhouse behind him that he can just hit a crisp timing with +2 ground weapons. I think that entire attack on the triangle 3rd, he had an upgrade advantage. Classic still wasn't able to research +2, so Creator playing a really great PvP, even from a deficit in the early game. I'm liking the way that he's shaping up. He is looking very good this GSL.
No, I really like the stasis in the main, and then the fact that he knows to fraction up the army again. As it's going to thaw out, he just gets it to freeze another half. And so he's basically just getting so ahead. And Classic almost looked like he had an opportunity to maybe try to come back, but in the end, Creator just mounted that lead and closed it out when he was maxed out. Beautiful game. We're now going to go into game number 2 here and see if Classic can even this out or if Creator takes us 2-0.
then V, Creator. Twisted Minds Classic.
Okay, well, let's see what kind of game we're going to get this time around. It's kind of a generic start for the last one. You know, nothing too remarkable that really even went on with the openings. They were both kind of defensive plays that just allowed each side of the map to kind of flourish and grow, and that's how you end up with a longer PvP macro game.
Yeah, I mean, in theory, Classic coming in that fast with the Oracle because it went for an Adept opening instead of a Stock opening. Watch GSL since day one, the Fruit Dealer days.
That's right.
That's
if you
legendary.
go back and look at those games, everybody's so bad, by the way. It's crazy, man. It's just Fruit Dealer doing like one base mainly plus, just like, and the other players are just making depots and other structures to try to curb him from getting in. But welcome, I'm glad you finally made it. It's never too late to get down to the studio.
I'm trying to remember what that map was called, the one where the players spawned at the four corners and there was that high ground expansion with like rocks that you had to break to get up in your main base. I can't recall, but I remember.
I'm actually not great with map names, to be totally honest. Once they're out of the map pool, I kind of forget. Or
yeah, I just remember back in 2010 when I played on that map, I would play Terran. My favorite strategy was lifting up my SCVs in the command center and floating to the little, it's basically an island, right? Because it has those rocks. And then I would marine all in. I would go like 5 racks. I would kill the rocks. And I would pull my SCVs. It's just like the most dumpster build. It's the worst thing in the world, but back then it worked. It was a lot of fun.
But if you pull off a really bad build like that, there's some other, you know, you're entering some higher plane of RTS existence.
All right, so we already have a bit of a mix-up here in terms of builds, with Classic opting to go for a relatively fast Robo.
Is the Robo in the middle of the map?
Yeah, it's proxied on his side of the map. So this is a location that's relatively hard to scout. Creator, with his probe scout in the main base of Classic, should have been able to identify that Classic is one less pylon in the main than he should. But the issue is that Creator is going to be scouting in all of the wrong places, because generally you're expecting that pylon to be proxied in close proximity to your expansion, but instead Classic is just opting for what is going to be the least likely place for Creator to scout. So it's going to be a Robo all-in against a fast expansion here, and this game, I think, almost definitely will end within the next couple of minutes.
Yeah,
it's very close with that battery timing, by the way.
So it's going to come down to how quickly this attack could come in here from Classic, and if Creator could stop it or not. So this is a lot more in line with many of the PvPs we cast out here. Now, seeing 2 sentries make is not always a good sign, although good force fields can push the Immortal away. So the Warp Prism's coming out. Now, this is not right outside of Creator's base, and that makes it harder to find, but it does also mean the actual attack starts a little bit later as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a minute before this one reaches cross-map, as Classic actually opting to go for another Immortal. Oftentimes when we see Protoss players go for this all-in, they'll do it with more of a gateway follow-up, just one Immortal, Chrono Boosted out of that Robotics facility and a Warp Prism, but instead, Classic opting to play a little bit more Robo-heavy here, and now Creator has a good idea of what's coming. And Classic's going to try and drop in the main base. He does not have a sentry with us, so instead he's just going to try and find some damage here on these Stalkers. Guardian Shield is activated.
Okay, so he's going to go right up to the Warp Prism. Now, that was basically a failure as far as getting in. Like, he bought enough time, and he, you know, with his pylon, he can actually see that the attack's going to come in a little bit further. But, you know, the Stalkers are still alive.
I kind of like this play here for Classic. This is pretty smart, because he knows that he doesn't have enough in the front to do a full frontal assault that can end the game. So instead, he's just trying to trade the hardened shield on the Immortals and the shields on the Stalkers to actually get kills at a place of Creator's base where he did not, at least until now, have a shield battery set up. So it's pretty smart, and now actually he's full sending here into the main base.
So this is it. I mean, right now we have to see this work for Classic, or it's going to be a real problem. There is an Immortal on each side right now. He tries to dive on the Immortal in the back, and it's going to be able to shimmy away over to the battery to get a refill.
I think there actually isn't enough range to get an overcharge.
A second Immortal coming out right now.
Okay, Immortal does pop. The Immortal comes back from the low ground.
Oh!
Regenerated shields. One of the Immortals actually falling here for Creator. Classic's on very low HP. 15 probes have gone down. I think Classic might have done it. Those 15 probes.
Well, keep in mind, it's going to be pretty tough to micro this. A lot of very low HP units. I think you're probably right. Yeah. That's it, GG.
I mean, when you go down to 13 workers like that, you just can't remax. And Classic played a kind of a different flavor of an Immortal all-in than we usually see. Usually it is just a full frontal assault.
Yeah,
but
that's what I was thinking too.
A bit more of a slow grind, and he attacked earlier into the main base, was able to shave off a good number of units because of it. And I think the shield battery there for Creator might have been just out of range to actually overcharge it from a Nexus.
Needed another one in his main or something.
Yeah, or a little bit closer to the main Nexus or the natural Nexus. It seemed like it was kind of in that dead zone where you cannot, in fact, overcharge it.
Well, I enjoyed that game. We're tied up 1-1, which means we have to go to the final game in this best of 3. But very different games here. Classic coming out with that timing attack. Creator once again going for conservative play, ready to try to react and defend instead of initiate, but it doesn't work.
I wonder what they're going to go for this time. Is Classic going to try it all in again? Is Creator going to mix up the build, or will he once again go for a 2-gate expand? It's time to find out. Winner of this match on Solaris is going to the winner's map. Winner's match here in Group B.
Club NV Creator. Twisted Minds Classic.
So we've got a probe out on the map.
What does Creator have up his sleeves here? I'm wondering. Oh, it's going to be a cannon rush. You're kidding me.
Oh, my God.
Oh, let's go.
One for the history books. So, why would you make attacking units when you could make buildings?
I can't remember the last time I've seen a cannon rush in the GSL. This is going to be so much fun. Second probe is coming out. Pylon getting built in the low ground here.
I don't think I've ever seen Creator do a cannon rush either.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
this is
saying?
cool.
It's like parting, yeah, sure, something like that. But now this is going to be more like your actual BattleNet experience and less of a GSL game. And this is the second probe. This is basically like a red herring.
Well, the second
You're like,
probe.
oh, look, it looks like it's a normal scout.
It does. It does look like it's a normal scout coming into the main base like this.
It's like, oh, let's check. I mean, because I'm also checking, I should see how many gases you got.
Yeah, it looks like it's a gateway scout, and he's building all of the cannons out of range of vision. These cannons are going to get up, and once those cannons are up. Wait, what? Classic's going for a proxy again in the middle of the map. He's building a pylon. He has no idea what's coming. He now sees the pylon in his main base. Oh, he's realizing this so late, and that cannon on the low ground, it does protect the pylon on the high ground. Okay, a gateway is going to get canceled. Classic is going to be focusing those minerals on chrono boosting out stalkers, maybe even a robo. But look, the cannon's already coming in. 3 of them, in fact.
I think that one's actually not covered.
Got 2 of them not fully covered here, but so many are getting thrown down that inevitably some of them will get up.
Now, keep in mind that the cybernetics core is adjacent to the cannon rush. So, like, if the core dies, you're just dead. Okay, if the Nexus dies, you're just dead.
Okay, one of the probes do go down here for Creator. This cannon, it will finish. In fact, it does get canceled. Oh, man, Classic is starting to lose a lot of probes, and he can start to shimmy in. And I think Creator has enough minerals that he can actually build so many cannons. Oh, wait, he's going to die for it. He gets it. Oh, this is crazy.
Is there another probe on the map moving? Yeah, he's sending one out.
Another probe is coming in. This cannon is going to complete. Classic is planning to recall his probes to the 6 o'clock position. And let's keep in mind, Classic, we haven't seen it on screen yet. He's actually proxying a Stargate in the middle of the map. So there is a chance that Classic, even though he's sustaining a lot of damage at home right now and he's going to have to sack his main base Nexus, can rally an Oracle or a Void Ray cross map and get big damage done. It's going to be a Void Ray. Oh, this is insane.
Okay, so the Nexus is only halfway done, so we don't have the recall right away. Oh, there is a cannon in the mineral patch. I almost didn't see it. So, how many minerals are in the bank right now for Classic? Does Classic even have the money to? Yeah, he doesn't. He has the money for just that.
Just one.
Not
Void
even
Ray.
one more probe right now.
So the
Cybernetic score goes down?
Yeah, the cybernetic score here for Creator is about a quarter of the way done. He's going to have to start chrono boosting out Stalkers and ideally get a shield battery as soon as he possibly can. But my question is it going to be too late to actually defend against this Void Ray? Because there's no way this cannon is going to be able to block every single thing. This proxy Void Ray might be enough to stop Creator. Okay, the recall has come through. Classic actually opting to go for the cannons. That's going to allow Creator some time to chrono boost out a Stalker. And I'm not really sure about the math on this one.
Okay, so another pylon's being made in the back over here. The charge is done on the Void Ray. So it does unpower the cybernetic scroll, though that plays almost no role right now.
Yeah, and the shields are gone on that Void Ray because it opted to go for the cannon. So it's actually gonna have to run away from the Stalker. And I think Creator back at home is stabilizing quite well. Classic with some nice micro is going to be able to kite the Zealot until it dies. And now he's saturating the 6 o'clock position on the map.
Well, the thing is, I think if he can even get a second gateway up here, I think he can just push with Stalkers, right?
Classic, you mean? Or Creator?
I think Creator can.
Yeah, because Classic, he's only just now building the cybernetic score. He can really only make Stargate units.
And there's just going to be a point where, that's so smart. I don't know why that didn't occur to me. Yeah, he's building infrastructure there.
Yeah, he's going to 3 or 4 gate off of this, and that's a really smart play. He knows he killed the cybernetic core. He knows that Warp Gate for a Classic and also a potential robotics facility is going to be so delayed. Classic can truly only make Void Rays in this moment in time. And Creator's doing the very smart thing of just cutting saturation on one base. God, what an insane scenario we found ourselves in.
I mean, this is such a crazy game. And you could really appreciate how quick these Void Rays can take out anything when they're powered up like that. So, we have Warp Gate coming yet, so it's not like we can just have Stalkers in sets of 3 appear just yet.
Yeah, there is a 4th gateway underway here for Creator as well, so it's going to be a straight-up 4-gate. And despite losing that assimilator, it's worth noting he has a lot of gas in the bank. That is not going to be a bottleneck for him in terms of Stalker production. And after he gets a couple of rounds of Stalkers, I think he's going to be able to find a timing that is going to decide whether he wins the game or loses it. Because Classic, he is building a robotics facility down here at the 6 o'clock position. If he gets an Immortal up with 2 Void Rays and has shield batteries back at home, this is a winnable position for Classic. My question is, will Creator be able to get enough damage done before that point with this 4-gate?
By the way, if Classic wins this, it's going to be the most rewarding feeling for him in the entire world. Whenever you survive cheese like this, it's like, oh my god.
Right, Creator shading in some adepts. Able to completely disrupt the mining here for Classic for the time being. And Creator actually going for a Stargate himself. I think he might have gotten the read that he cannot go for a killing move, or at least he wants a fallback plan here. I'm actually very surprised that he is going for a Stargate instead of full sending the 4-gate. But I guess with the shield batteries, with 2 Void Rays and an Immortal, it is really hard to actually break this position with just Stalkers now.
Okay, the Stalkers are going to come down. There is a Warp Prism being made, so it looks like Classic has plans on actually trying to push here as well. Okay, the Void Ray taking quite a bit of damage. He's going to go to unpower the Stargate.
The Classic has to respect the Stalker count here for Creator. This is insane.
This is a Stalker that's just a prisoner of the main base until he gets a recall up.
And now Creator is making Void Rays on his own. This is the most PvP that has ever PvP'd.
This is a Protoss's PvP right here.
So at least one viewer of the GSL is just like smoking a pipe at home, like, yes, this is the StarCraft that I have come to see.
Finally. The first new Nexus here for Creator has been made. So he's going to basically go to 12 o'clock, which is just not within the area of expansions you're going to be looking for.
Oh, and this is insane, too. Classic coming in. He knows that there's infrastructure here for Creator that is very vulnerable to a Warp Prism with Immortals.
Yeah.
And he's going to be able to unpower 2 gateways of Creator's production. More Void Rays being chrono boosted out for Creator back at home. This is truly an insane game of PvP we've been treated to.
Yeah, and now, okay, so what we thought was a brilliant idea is actually turned out to be a point of weakness here. Because he needs to unpower that. Okay, there we go. Now half of the infrastructure is unpowered here for Creator. So, like, Yeah, he's getting his own Void Rays, great. And, Classic, he doesn't have a powered-up Stargate right now. But 2 gates just can't produce.
The thing is, if Classic misreads the situation, which is very easy to do in a game as bizarre as this one, he might think he has the potential to go for a killing blow because he has a high immortal count, he has multiple Void Rays, he has sentries, he has a Warp Prism, and he's fighting against Creator on 1 base who is clearly going for a 4-gate. Classic might think he can just all in this, but Creator's had non-stop Void Ray production, and if he just holds the top of his ramp, Classic might overextend into a Creator that's actually expanding onto 2 bases, but these force fields are very clutch from Classic, able to snipe off a good number of Stalkers. I think there is still 1 force field here for Creator.
Looks like he almost went for the Warp Prism there.
It's a scary moment. If Classic gets up this ramp, it becomes a very dangerous situation.
I think he could basically chop up the army around the Nexus now, however he sees fit. And, the truth is, whether he goes full-on push or not, he can just hit the Nexus from a distance as well. He can generate threats. They're going to basically bait out Creator into attacking here.
Yeah, Creator not being able to hold the top of the ramp is just so painful because Classic standing army is, in fact, so strong despite the Void Ray count here for Creator. I don't know exactly what he's going to do, and Classic kills the Nexus. Now he's going to retreat out. The army's finally engaged. Void Rays.
It's just too much, I think. I think Classic just takes the game.
Maybe, but the anti-area is starting to thin out. Okay, one of the last Void Rays do go down. Has Classic done this?
There's just too many mortals on the low ground here. They could push in.
Actually, it's Zeps. We did not catch this. 10 of Classic's probes are going down.
Oh, he killed those workers. Okay, so wait.
It's 14 probes to 13 probes. Creator is still mining from the top base. Classic might think right now that Creator is no Nexus, but once Creator is not revealed, he's going to know that there is, in fact, another expansion on the map, but still the standing army for Classic much more powerful than Creator's.
This is wild, man. What a game.
More Void Rays in production. I'm curious about what Creator's sentry count is because I feel like he's going to have to section off the Stalker count from Classic if he wants to win this game. And that means warping in Zealots and warping in sentries and just trying to fragment the army of his opponent. And Classic, with that Hallucination Scout, does know 12 o'clock is occupied. And while it was a smart move from Creator to go for this base that's going to be hard to scout, one of the downsides is it's very wide open, and that's a situation where Classic's army is going to thrive in. And there are no sentries whatsoever here for Creator.
So this is going to be do or die here for Creator, who's already limping through this game. I mean, the army is considerably bigger in supply, and frankly better here with the 3 Immortals in the back.
The Stalker's pushing forward. Creator with nice micro, able to save one of the Void Rays, but as the one of the front line falls, I think Classic's going to have just enough power to break through. And what an insane PvP.
Yeah, I mean, that was just, that's what makes StarCraft great, is games like that. The fact that they both had lost their mains. Yeah. They were both outposted in these weird setups.
At the 12 o'clock and the 6 o'clock of all locations.
Key infrastructure all over the map. But I mean, I'll tell you what, that was not the game Classic thought he was going to be playing here tonight. We rarely have cannon rushes in GSL ever, but
I love that Creator had the confidence to bust that out in game 3, though. I think
it
bodes
almost worked. I mean, the reality is, maybe cannons are placed just slightly differently, where more of them are protected by the original default cannon, maybe a hex up. I think that game ends. Guys, short break. Coming up next, Dark vs. Bunny. We will be right back.